In this video, we're going to be exploring why do we have repressed memories? So, why do we have repressed memories? One of the things that can sometimes come up for us when we start doing our inner work is we can feel like there are whole chapters of our childhood that we just don't have memories of, we don't have content of. Sometimes this is because we have an unrealistic expectation of memory. It's very common to not have a lot of memory before 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And then the memories we have after that will tend to be linked to key events and circumstances that happened. And so most of us don't remember lots of details and lots of chapters of the early part of our life. However, if what you're noticing is that your memories don't really start until you were 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, or there's just whole sections of memory that seem absent, what's happening there? Just like we have a physical body, we also have an emotional body and we have a mental body. Our emotional body is where we store our feelings and our emotions. It's also where we're impacted in our feelings and emotions. And our mental body is our mind. That's our capacity to self-reflect, to remember things, to think about the future, and so on. When we go through circumstances in our lives which are overwhelming, when we experience things that we're unable to fully process and metabolize at the time, our emotional and mental bodies have a wisdom that kicks in. And just like we might say as an adult, oh, I just want to forget that experience, that thing that happened. Well, that can actually happen. We can actually not have at least conscious memory of certain things. So how do we know that something happened which we weren't able to process at the time? Just like we all have certain physical needs, the need for water, for oxygen, for food, we also have 3 core emotional needs. And these are fundamental for our healthy emotional development. These are the needs for boundaries, to be able to say yes or no to other people, but also yes or no to ourselves. The need for safety. And as a child, that's having our nervous system co-regulating, feeling safe around other calm, soothing nervous systems. In adult life, that's being able to self-regulate our nervous system, being able to calm and bring ourselves back to a place of safety. And the 3rd core emotional need is the need for love. This is not knowing we're loved as an idea. It is feeling loved in our felt, lived experience. When difficult things happen, and these 3 core emotional needs are not being met in the way that we need, that becomes overwhelming. So for example, something happens and we feel very, very unsafe and we don't get the sense of safety that we need. Or something that happens and we fundamentally feel it's our fault, that we've done some terrible thing, and the absence of love is like not getting oxygen. It's a major impact to our system. What can happen is these memories become repressed. It's not that we don't have memory, it's that we don't have conscious memory. To just say a few words about the difference between your conscious mind and your unconscious mind. Your conscious mind can do around 7 things at any one time. So right now, I can be aware of the sound of my voice, of the notes I've got on the screen in front of me. I can be aware of the lights and the cameras in the room. There's many things I'm not aware of, but I can become aware of them. Like, for example, the sensation of my breath, or feeling my feet on the floor, or my team in the room. Any one moment, there's many things that we're not aware of because they're not in our conscious awareness. So our conscious mind can do around 7 things. Our unconscious mind is doing millions of things at any one time. And so we have memories that are repressed and held in our unconscious. And what can happen in therapeutic work, by the way, particularly when we start to learn to meet those 3 core emotional needs for ourselves, we actually build the safety that allows those memories start to come back to the surface. Because there is wisdom in our emotional body, it wants to process, it wants to digest these experiences. And so we build that safety, we build that sense of love and support, and we can find ourselves sometimes starting to have flashbacks or starting to remember certain things. That's a sign of progress. That means that we're actually moving forwards on our healing path. But then the question can come up at this point, well, are these memories real? Are they accurate? We may be having what feels like very real flashbacks of certain things. The reality is they may be true, they may not be true. Now, if we can get external validification of certain things, or we can have ways of having it confirmed, those things, that can be helpful to know the validity of the memory. Other times, what is very real is the feelings that we have, like the emotions and the feelings that are coming up. And sometimes the actual content memories, the events, the people, the circumstances, they can be less accurate. And the research on repressed memories is that whereas those feelings and emotions that have been held and stored often have a lot of validity, the content and the details, can be inconsistent. They can also, by the way, be heavily influenced by the perspectives of the people around us as we start to talk about them. So they can be shaped. And this is where we can sometimes have false memories that can be created. So from my perspective, therapeutically, actually the content is less important. Now, sometimes if they're particularly traumatic or abusive situations, there may be real world realities to acting on that information. From a therapeutic perspective, though, the key thing is that we can move and heal what is stored. For specific details on how to do this, do check out my video on how to release stored trauma in the body. But we've already touched on one of the real keys here, which is learning to meet those core emotional needs, and particularly that need for safety. And so if repressed memories are coming up, it can be very tempting to jump on all the information, all the details, and you may need to do something with that. But the most important thing is to learn to build that safety. Meditation, yoga, tai chi, qigong, skillful therapeutic work where you have safety with that person, building a support network of people in your life that can hold you and support you in those places. But building that safety will allow that to move. And things can feel very intense as they start to shift. But also they can be like waves in the ocean. We can have a big wave of something that comes and it can feel in that moment that it's going to be too much. And then we process it. And then we also feel the relief and the release on the other side. It takes enormous energy to hold all of this stuff in our body. And often a lot of the things we struggle with in our lives, anxiety, depression, addictions, and so on, are ways to try to manage those impacts. If we can really heal those stored memories and get that energy flowing and moving, we can also find ourselves in a place of so much more ease and joy and happiness in our lives. This can be challenging work, but it's really important work. So to learn more about how to build safety, to learn more about how to release trauma stored in your body, please do subscribe to my channel. If you found this video helpful, please do click the like button. And also, I'd love to hear in the comments what's helped you on your journey of processing and healing childhood trauma, repressed memories, stored trauma, but also those habits and behaviors that we know are causing problems in our lives. What's helped you on that journey? Thanks for watching.